11. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. For you that don't know me, I'm MSG King.
I'm Master Manlick. Today we're going to go through one MRT skill. We're going through Unit 9. Okay. The reference in the books on the table there is page 131. Okay, this isn't a real long one of those MRT trainings.
And the books on the table, if you don't have a book, take those books. Those are, I got lots of them. Those are extras, so we recommend you bring the books with you when you do your MRT training just to follow along or so that you can keep track of the material. So if you need a book, take the books with you when you leave. Otherwise, when you come, it'd be nice if you brought your books. So just FYI.
Okay, if I was to ask any one of you, what does mental games mean to you? Or when I say mental games, what do you think of right away? Yes.
Or maybe playing out an outcome of a certain situation.
Okay. Anybody else? When I think of a mental game, what I think of is like somebody playing you, okay? Trying to manipulate you in a way that you want to go and playing games with you, okay? But that's not what this is. You were more on track than what I thought. Okay, mental games distract you from counterproductive thoughts. Okay, real-time resilience confronts counterproductive thoughts directly and makes them productive thoughts. Mental games can be used by individuals until they feel confident enough with the skill of real-time resilience. Okay, and this just shows where we're at in the units. And last month we did this one right here, which was put it in perspective, which talked about your thoughts going to a downward spiral. Okay, and this module will help you get out of that thinking by doing certain mental games. Okay, the objective of mental games is to change the focus away from counterproductive thinking to enable greater concentration and focus on the task at hand. Self-regulation is a primary target of mental games. Okay, mental games allow you to stay on task, focus, and continue to stop you from that downward spiral like I said before. Next slide. Okay, we will teach you, I'm just going to teach you one today, but there's several methods of mental games. We're going to teach you one just to show you kind of how it works. Okay. Next slide. Okay, here's some examples of some mental games that you can use. It says up there, come backwards. Alphabet, go from the back to the front, or even use the military alphabet, phonetic alphabet. Sports characters, music lyrics. And what it's based on is just trying to get your thoughts back to what you were trying to accomplish in the first place. Is that understandable?
Will this help you pass a field sobriety test too?
They might, in some cases. Okay, but no, the biggest thing of this, it's important to choose a game or technique that is right for you. Okay, some of these might not work for you, and you can test them. Just try one, and if it doesn't work, go to another one. Okay, next slide. Again, like it says, practice, double up. Okay. Mental games help to distract you from counterproductive thoughts. Mental games help to build MRT competency or self-regulation. Okay, let's go into one of these mental games now. He's going to hand out, I don't know if you guys are aware of Sudoku. Now, this is probably not a real good one to use because it does say keep them easy and short term. Because if you have one like a crossword puzzle or something that you do too much research, then it's really taken away from what you're trying to get at. So once you guys take like 5 or 10 minutes or 5 minutes or so, do you guys all know how this works? How this game works?
If you want to work as a group, you're welcome to work as a
Yeah.
group also.
Okay, you have, it's not bolded up here, but you have a box of 9. Okay, you can only have 1 through 9 in that box. You can only have 1 through 9 in this top row and this row. And that goes with every row like that. Okay? You guys understand that? Is that clear?
So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it's just a puzzle where number puzzle.
And use process of elimination to figure out.
Yeah, and the clues in there, so obviously one will not be anywhere else in these 9 squares, or in this row, or in this row, because it's already in that one row.
So all the numbers are locked.
Yes.
So how would be the best way to start this?
Process of elimination, okay? You know there's not gonna be an 8 here, or if you not, let's see, yeah, 8 there, 7 there, a 6 there, or a 2 there. So that gives you the numbers that aren't there that you can move around, or the 5 here. Okay, because you cannot repeat a number in any row or column.
Is it best to use a pencil?
Yes. I mean, if you guys already used the ink pen, that's fine. But the reason for this is just to show you, okay, it's
Get your
gonna take
mind
your
off
mind off of your counterproductive thinking, okay? I was gonna bring a candy bar, and whoever got it was gonna get a candy bar, but, and this might be a harder puzzle. There's several different levels of these puzzles, just like solitary or whatever.
I got a 7 and a 6. Hey, there, you got it. Has to do that one right there. Yeah, you got the 3, right, didn't you? Oh.
We have another voice.
There you go now.
Sergeant Major. You know how that works. So you've done
Yeah, so,
And I know you guys. The reason
my wife can do all that, but you can do every damn one week, I think that's
part of this.
yeah, the more you.
Okay, here's your answers. Okay, just to show you, but it's just a puzzle, okay? And if we go a couple slides back.
I'm sure you will still be on some better.
It was just an example of maybe using that in here, okay? But it does say that don't use one that takes too much time or too much thought.
This is one.
And obviously, yes, this one doesn't really work with that. Unless you're used to the puzzle. Okay, it depends on each of them.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, what are situations you can use this practice
Writing NCOARs.
What's that?
Writing NCOARs.
Absolutely.
Take a break, play, do a mental game, and then get back on task.
I mean, it's not always have to be towards the counterproductive thinking. Sometimes you just need a mental break. You know, I used to do that when I get home from work. I watch cartoons for half an hour, and it fixes me. You know, it's just whatever works for you, I guess, is the best.
Just to help relieve that stress, you know, if you're getting stressed out in a situation, just a venue or a house, kind of wind down, relax. This might even stress people out. I don't know. It could be counterproductive.
Where's the pencil, man?
So you gotta find what works for you.
Because if it's too hard, then it's going to take away from getting you back on track. And it's almost as bad as the counterproductive thinking.
Doing PT or some physical activity.
Yes. I mean, yeah, like you said, sometimes running or doing physical exercises is refreshing for people as far as their mind goes, because they feel better or whatever. Okay, check on learning. Okay, what is the skill? Okay. Okay, when you use it, it's a temporary fix, it's not a full-time fix, but it helps you get back on track. And then the biggest thing is, okay, do for a few minutes, okay? You don't want to take too long doing this, because then, like I said, you're also going to lose track of what you're trying to get away from in the first place, or get back on. All right, Master Sergeant.
Did you guys ever see anything is there any research on whether or not POWs ever use this skill when, in captivity? You see some of the documentaries of, they always, they put a little notch or they did something.
Well, a lot of them counted days, which meant something to them.
They learned how to communicate through.
Yeah.
Or
But something to take their mind off of
Yeah.
where they
were.
are,
Yeah.
what their mess they're in, but it help keep their mind sharp.
What's that movie that's Clean Resistance? Selling it, he's at baseball?
So, any questions on mental
Any
games?
questions on the mental game part of it? I know it's a real short block, but, like I said earlier, okay, the reason they put this in like a honeycomb is because they all do tie together. Okay, this one up here, you could probably still use here, vice versa. Basically,
All the skills.
yes. And basically, I know it's kind of boring for all of us, resiliency is, but if you can get anything out of any resiliency training, it's made to make you more self-aware of yourself, okay? You gotta dig deep sometimes, find out why you might be feeling the way you are, okay?
And then too, with self-awareness, then you can also help your soldiers
Exactly.
if they're having any problems or issues that then
wellness system.
It's all, like Hunt the Good stuff, you know, all that stuff, it all ties in into one another.
And I know according to Bob Pike, I probably had way too many slides up here, but sorry about that. He says how many?
20 minutes.
4 slides, yeah. Okay, there you go.
So, no questions on mental games. This isn't really a mental game, but it's kind of to go along with MRP training and what this is. There's one on the table. If you need more, I got more too. So, this is kind of for like anger management or also like self-awareness. This is called the wound development diagram. So, what you do, you start at the bottom for the injustice. When an injustice happens in your life, the injustice leads to fear, frustration, hurt, in which that could lead to anger. And once you get to that anger level, that's where you don't want to go to the next level. Is the point purpose of this diagram. And like anger, if you're experiencing anger, or you know, just knowing your soldiers too, and if you notice when your soldier's having an anger issue, you know, that might be a red flag. And so, you know, if people are angry about a certain situation, you should resolve it within a 24-hour period. That anger, you know, for yourself or for somebody else, you shouldn't hang on to it for more than like a day or 24-hour, 2 days max. What happens is if you hold in that anger and that frustration, then that's when you go to the next level, and that's when things escalate. So like when you do that anger, get that anger, like the mental tools or the mental games, that could help subside some of that anger also. So you know, working out, if somebody's getting angry, you know, just take them aside and say, hey, you know, what's going on? But then, so if they can't find a venue or a way to alleviate that anger, then if it leads to the next level, the hate, hostility, bitterness, revenge, resentment, jealousy, rage, that's when they've crossed the threshold. That's when it could lead to non-productive or negative behavior, you know, something bad. And then which leads to depression, which, you know, I mean, I'm sure anybody in this room has known, you know, either had depression themselves or have known people that have depression. And then once it goes past that apathy, that's when like suicide, and that's the ultimate what happens when that you know, and that's what, you know, you want to avoid that. So this is just a tool. It's not a, you know, something set in stone, but just for your self-awareness. And then with that being said, there are resources out there. Can anybody, just by showing, anybody heard of a behavioral health evaluation? So the Army, the Army has addressed this issue, and as commanders and as leaders, and even as individuals, people in the Guard, if you're experiencing anger issues or any kind of mental health problems, you can go get an evaluation done, and it doesn't cost you anything. You can go get an assessment, and they can determine if you're having, you know, anxiety issues, anger issues, and that they're here to help. So there are resources out there, and also the command can also direct people to get an evaluation if there's problems with mental health, and you've identified. There's 2 different cases where you can command direct. There's emergency and non-emergency. If you have a soldier that is threatening, you know, to hurt themselves or commit suicide, I mean that's the process. Is you can have them go in for a mental health evaluation, and it's a great tool, you know, to help, you know, if somebody's having issues. And on the Guard, you know, we only have our soldiers 2 days out of the month, so some of these issues don't always arise, but if the opportunity ever comes up and just knowing your soldiers too can provide that information, or a red flag might go up to help in that situation, and there is help out there so that they can get the evaluations that they need and get the help that they need.
If a soldier gets a DUI during the month, not on drill, not during drill weekend, or not on a duty status, is there a requirement by the commander to schedule an assessment?
Like for behavioral health,
For self-assessment. Or
See, that-
Had a DUI, right?
that might, that might be a reason for them to go. I don't know if substance abuse covers under this. That's a good question. I can find out, but I think there's another process too for like substance abuse. You can, that's a whole nother program, but there are resources there also to get help if they have chemical dependency, to assist with that.
So let's say a soldier discloses an intent or a thought. Is that up to the commander's discretion, or is it directed that there be an assessment done?
I don't think it's a mandated directive, but I would, I would highly advise that an assessment is done. Because if they're in that state of mind also, for the ACE card, you're not supposed to leave them. If they're saying, I'm having bad thoughts, or I'm thinking about hurting myself. But, for the ACE, you're not supposed to leave them unattended. You're supposed to immediately take them either to a suicide intervention officer or chaplain, or a commander can designate the first sergeant or somebody to take them in to the emergency room and get them the help that they need. So, and then, from that initial intervention, from there, the program to get that health, mental health evaluation, that could stem to that also. So,
Getting back to your other question about getting a DUI, okay, or telling your command that you got it. I know we have talked about this in some of our meetings before, but there was never anything written in stone on what happens if you don't self-report, right? So, and what are the consequences, we never did find anything for the state written in stone stating what happens.
I would think that the soldier has an obligation to let their chain of command know, but I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's mandatory, or I don't know. I can find out this.
Well, I believe there was guidance, and if you're an E7 or up, you have to report any
Like a CCR.
any type of conviction of any type, so that obviously affects your security clearance, right? Then
Yes. But then like E6 and below, there was really no repercussion other than if they're at 88 Mike, for example, in a unit, and they got a DWI, and they show up for drill and they have to drive, well, they can't because they don't have a license, so a situation like that. Getting back to this slide, with the class we just had, where do you think in this line here that you could use mental aids maybe to stop from going any further? All of them would be a good one. I mean, obviously, you probably want to start it down here at the lowest level, because once it gets up here or up here, it's going to be harder. But up here, you're more at the real downward spiral, and you're not thinking straight because you're going through these feelings right here. Just something to take away.
Yeah, I would say like no higher than, once you get to the anger, I would say that would be when you probably
That
start
would probably be the
thinking
best
about,
fix. But it can still be fixed here, it could still be fixed here too. I would say if it's here, it's gonna be harder to fix it by yourself though. Any questions? Any thoughts? If you take anything away from this class, what would you take away?
More games.
Well, that concludes this class. Thank you for your attention. There's gonna be a safety class right after this, correct?
Correct.
And you're meeting